Hey, wine mermaids. This is the Peace, Love, and Wine podcast, bringing you happy hour conversations with awesome women on self-care, sisterhood, and creative living to reduce stress and maximize joy. Life is short, so grab a glass and get ready to sip, sparkle, and make a splash. Make sure to visit peaceloveandwine.com and enter your email to receive VIP deals and get your free self-care download. Now, here's your wine sister hostess with the mostest, Tiffany Humfeld.
Hi, ladies. Welcome to our virtual happy hour retreat series. I'm Tiffany Humfeld with Peace, Love, and Wine, and this is your rock in your biz, but it's burning you out. Tips and tools from top entrepreneurs on how to go from overworked and overwhelmed to overjoyed. And I'm happy to be here with my guest, Diane Currie Sam today from beabetterstory.com. She is a speechwriter, a presentation designer, and a speech coach. She helps women get more visible. I imagine men too, but we're talking to the ladies here. So that's why I mentioned the women. But thank you, Diane, for being here.
Thank you, Tiffany. Lovely to be here. Super excited to be talking to you.
Yes, me too. I'm glad to have you. So give us a little bit of background if people don't know what a speechwriter is. I mean, I'm sure people know that there's speechwriters in politics and whatnot, but tell us what you do, what makes your work special.
Well, I work with business owners who are struggling to get a message out, and often they want to go out and talk to people in their community about who they are, what their business is. Maybe they want to go speak at networking events or other workshops or conferences where they want to be known as a speaker in their particular area. And they're that feeling of staring at a blank page. Like they're just like, what? I know I have something unique here. I know I have something I want to get out there, but how do I put all of this into a 45-minute presentation that I can go out there and really inspire people and get them to buy from me or work with me or hire me or whatever it is that they want, right? So they'll come to me and I'll work on, I'll design that presentation and that speech with them, get their message out, right?
And how did you get into that field?
Well, it's funny, I always tell people I've always been a public speaker. Like I was in kindergarten and I won this poetry reciting contest in front of the whole community. It was like an arts festival. And I remember thinking like, why are the other kids so nervous? Like, I don't get this. This is fun. I get to be on stage, right? So I've been kind of a natural public speaker my whole life, but I've worked in my career communications and corporate communications, and I've taught courses at this university level, and I always did it. I always just found something. I'm like, I could make a presentation about it. I used to just kind of do it, right? So then I'm like, okay, I actually have a real skill for this, and this is what I love doing. And I really started to focus out of general corporate communications and really more into, okay, this is my niche. This is what I really love to do. So.
And you mentioned that you work with a lot of people in the healthcare industry. How did that come about? Well,
it's often alternative healthcare. So acupuncturists, massage therapists, I think it became about because I'm personally attracted to new ideas.
Okay.
And new things and interesting. I attract people like that. I love working with people like that. So it ended up being a lot of people in sort of alternative health, even spiritual leaders, people who do very esoteric type work. I had a lady who talks to dolphins and runs these dolphin healing exercises. I just like new ideas. I like translating them for people. One of my jokes is I translate the weird. So if you have something kind of unusual that you're doing and you're like, oh God, people got to know about this, right? But you're not quite sure, how do I even say this so people understand what it is I do?
Right.
And then, that's what my specialty is.
I like that. So since we're talking about burnout today and how to help women get out of that space, can you share a personal burnout story?
Yeah, I can remember when my kids I've got a 13-year-old and 11-year-old now. And when they were a lot younger, maybe about 5, 6 kind of age, I was also running a home business, but it was a bit more high intensity. I had more employees. I had more stress on me. I had more just obligations, right? Mm-hmm. And burnout. I can remember just that feel like I wasn't sleeping well at night. I was sort of half angry all the time. Like, I don't even know how to describe it mentally, right? Like, I wasn't functioning well, right? And I can remember this particular week where day after day, things just went wrong. Things that just went wrong that were directly impacting my bottom line, right? Like, I had a shipment that didn't go out, and then a customers whose credit card balance that we thought we had been paid and we hadn't, like, and then we got frauded on something. Like, it was just day after day. So it was just like, that image of just money flowing out the door. It was flowing out and nothing is going to come back, because it was just kind of all that frustrating feeling, right? And I can remember, like, just that moment of, I can't continue to do this. Like, I just can't continue here. Something's got to change. And I think what changed it was an understanding of I needed help. I needed better people around me. I needed a better team. I needed more. I can't do everything myself. I had to kind of let go of that. Well, I ended up firing someone. I mean, it just wasn't the right atmosphere that I was in. So I had to let go of people that weren't right and create the right group around me that could move that business forward, right? I ended up selling the business a couple years later, and I've moved now on to what I'm doing now. But it was just, it was a real awakening, right? Of what I was tolerating in my life, what I let go. Like, I just sort of wasn't on top of my own feelings about it. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's almost like you were letting life sort of swallow you or something.
Yeah, it's like you don't even know. You wake up and you're in this chaos, and you're like, how did this even happen? How did I get myself into this? Like, why is all this stuff going? I got to figure out something better here, because this isn't working as it is, right? There's so many things that just weren't going right.
And so what did you do at that point when you started to make the shift? And I think it's great, obviously, that you noticed it before, your health went all to hell or something.
Well, how did I make that shift? I think it took a little bit of courage on my part, because I was afraid of hurting people's feelings like that. When I let go of that one person, I was like, oh, what are they going to think of me, or what? Like, it was a little bit of that. And I just had to step up as a leader. I just had to, like, no, you know what? Like, I can't be taken advantage of. Like, I can't, like, be paying someone to do this work that they're not really doing properly. Like, I had to be a leader. I had to just know, it's not about, I'm a businesswoman. I'm a business leader here now, right? It's not about making everybody feel good.
Right.
It's about the system is not working. So we've got to fix it.
And so who did you bring in to help you make that shift and to sort of reevaluate and reassess?
Well, I brought in a finance person to sit down with me and make sure things were properly priced and properly running in the business. So that took a lot of headache out of it for me. Like, I didn't understand how certain things were running. I needed to understand it. So I brought a professional in to take a look at that with me. So that took a lot of burden off me. And I got in a better operations manager.
Okay. And so what does your operations manager do? Or is that's the old business? And so it's not really relevant to today. It's
not really relevant now, no, but at least they took that was why some of those problems were happening. It was operational. It was financial and operational. Like, the systems were not functioning well.
And what systems do you use today in your business it sounds like maybe you've even condensed your team a little bit.
Yeah, I've really simplified it, and I do a lot of stuff all on the internet. Is all like that. Nowadays. It sounds like I'm such an old lady, but things are moving so quick, right? Like, even in the last 5 years, like, the work that I do, I've got a system that boom, boom, boom. I can see it all on my computer. I can see who I talk to, when I talk to, as you know, because you worked with I have a virtual assistant who handles my bookings and handles certain, so I can just show up and do what I love to do, which is to help people with their speeches, I also run live workshops and, coach them on their content and their topic. It's all done virtually. I do it all over the world, and everything is, it's not perfect, but at least it's simpler.
Yeah.
More simple.
I love that. When did you decide to hire an assistant? Have you always had one?
No, that's about 6 months ago.
Oh, awesome.
I have had others previously, but about 6 months ago, I got busy enough to bring her in, and I'm going to expand her work, and I'm going to hire someone else as well. So
awesome. So are these all sort of independent contractor type positions then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the other nice thing, Tiffany, is like, again, the technology, right? Like it's so easy to, like, you've got Upwork, it's all just handled for me, right? Like now I had to put some work into it. I had to figure out exactly who I wanted to hire, and there was some strategy around it, but it's not like it used to be. Like I can just go in there, I can post it, I can interview people online. It can all be handled right through that automatic account. I don't have to run a separate payroll system for them. And there's the technology out there to do all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. And then what technology are you using for your actual, you said, like tracking who you're speaking with and the things that you need to do in your day?
I do Google Docs a lot. So Google Calendar, I have Time Trade, which is an automatic scheduling software system. And I run Active Campaign for my emails, and in ClickFunnels for my sales pages and stuff like that. Right. But the actual scheduling and stuff is either a combination of Google Docs and Active Campaign and Time Trade.
And so with ClickFunnels, I tested that out for a little while, but I'm not quite ready to make the investment that's required on a monthly basis there.
Yeah.
Do you do all the marketing end of it yourself, or do you have an assistant do that part?
I set up the original concept, like how I want it to kind of flow. Mm-hmm. And then I have a marketing and advertising company that handles it for me at that point. So I'm kind of the strategic thinker. I design how I want it to look. Like right. A lot of my marketing is all about writing a speech. Like if you've got this idea, you want to get out and speak, how are you going to do it? So I keep talking about that in my marketing and my sales pages and my marketing stuff. And then the advertising company, we do mainly Facebook ads, and they target they work all. It's all numbers game, really. So they handle that, and that's part of the lack of not being overwhelmed is that I used to think I had to learn all this stuff,
right?
And I used to think like, oh God, and believe me, it's complicated, right? All the numbers, I can read a spreadsheet. I'm a businesswoman, but man, this stuff changes all the time. Like you got to be on top of it. It's a full-time job, even to just continually to understand this stuff. I don't want to do that. That's not my specialty.
Right.
So I subcontract that out. As a business owner, I watch the numbers carefully. I make sure that its return on investment is there, but otherwise I just let someone else do it.
Yeah. I've gotten to that point where I'm definitely delegating more things, and it feels really good, even though it costs money and it can get expensive. You can't wear all the hats all the time and grow.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. You can't, right?
Mm-hmm. So what do you do for fun? What do you do to take some downtime and renewal?
Well, how do I do it? Well, I go out and hang out with my friends and do the peace, love, and wine thing that you're talking about, right? I like to hang out. I go hiking with my kids. I'm kind of involved in their lives. I enjoy doing that kind of outdoor stuff with them. We go hiking. In the summertime, we do a lot of camping and swimming and stuff. It's now it's not almost. It is wintertime up here in Vancouver, BC. So we're not doing so much of the swimming and stuff, but we used to do that a lot in the summer. And we certainly take advantage of the beautiful forests and hiking trails and stuff around here.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Does it get old shoveling snow? Do you have to shovel snow?
Oh, my husband does that. I never worry about that.
Yeah, I don't know if I could handle that. Being in California.
Yeah. No, it does get old sometimes. You're like, oh, God, by the time it gets nice when the snow falls around Christmas time, right? And you get that kind of holiday feeling, right? And then after that, you're like, okay, I'm done.
Okay, go away.
Go away. Okay. Yeah. I've had my couple weeks. I'm good. Could spring please come, Yeah.
I've seen some pictures. Yes, I can imagine. So let's talk a little bit about, give me an example maybe of somebody who came to you who was completely overwhelmed and you were able to help kind of shift that around through the work that you do.
Well, sort of my specialty. Let me give you an example. There was one woman who, I'll tell you my, which is sort of ironic, but I had a Feng Shui practitioner who wants to go out and talk. And the ironic thing about it is Feng Shui, it's all about flow and ease and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And so she was really good at all that stuff for her clients and even for herself in her life, right? But when it came to her message and her marketing and how to attract people, there was kind of a lack of flow, right? She felt that kind of, I don't know what to do, right? Mm-hmm. Like I've tried this, and I'm not selling like it's just not happening, right? People don't get what I do. They don't get the reason that I'm doing it. They don't any of that stuff, right? And even just how to draw people to that, like mm-hmm. because it's kind of a quote luxury item, right? Like not everybody needs to have a Feng Shui practitioner come in their house, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you convince people that it's worthwhile doing, that it's actually going to have benefit to them, right? So it's not so much overwhelming. Like I'm not an organizer or something like that, mm-hmm. but I can clear out the clutter around your messaging and how you're going to attract people, what it is that what's the exact thing that you're going to do to grab people into your company. So I worked with her. We created a whole presentation. She's now out talking to women's groups, and she knows exactly what to say and how to get people interested in, that's why I would hire a Feng Shui consultant. I get it now. It's not just this weird, Chinese thing, right? It's an actual way of looking at your environment, and it's going to add, I learned a lot from it, right? It's going to add abundance and flow into my life in all sorts of ways. So it became really clear for her. And I think what like I said, it wasn't I'm not going to go in and organize your desk or something, right? Like that's someone else's job, but I'll organize the thought, the messaging that you want to get out to people.
That's great. And I think that's, especially when you're in it as the business owner and you know what you do, it can be hard to see from a outsider's perspective who maybe has no idea what you do, right?
Totally. I call it the curse of knowledge. You've got so much knowledge that you stand up there and you're just like, da, da, da. And I'm like, and then I'll listen to my client and I'll say, you know what? They're not going to understand anything that you just said. Right. And they're like, what? Nobody knows that? I said, no, nobody knows that. Like, that you think it's second nature, you think it's obvious, but to other people it's not, right? Right. Like they don't understand that.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a valuable service. So do you help people who don't really have experience speaking and want to get better at their actual presentation skills?
Well, I do, but it's usually after they've cleared their message. Like they come to me from a perspective of someone who isn't really clear on their message to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. And then once they get there, the whole thing goes hand in hand, because like as I tell people, like I can write this, I can sit with you, and this is what I do. It's one-on-one, just like this, on a video conference, and I open up a Google Doc and we design it together, of course, because it's your story. I don't know. I have to figure out who you are and write it with you, right? But they have to rehearse it with me, because it's an auditory thing. It's the spoken word. Right. It's not a written essay. It's not a script or screenplay that you're going to read out the lines. It's an actual spoken word, almost an art form, right? Mm-hmm. And so I have to listen to it. I can take it away and write some stuff up for you, but then we got to come back and I have to listen to you go. Like part of what my service is a complete rehearsal with me, right? Because I need to hear you say it. Because there's times I've written things that in my mind, they sound super excited. And by the time they end up, I'm like, okay, that sounded angry. Like that's not how I wrote it in my head. Like what's going on here, right? So I have to be able to sort of hear them say it. And part of that is the presentation skills, right? To be mm-hmm. confident, because if you're trying to move people into action for whatever reason, to buy from you, to hire you, to, vote for you, whatever, right? You've got to be confident. You've got to deliver it with a certain amount of power and energy.
Right.
So in addition to that sort of one-on-one work where I'm coaching them and working with them as part of delivering this and designing this speech, I do have live workshops. People come up to Vancouver and I have these intensives where they stand on the stage and I work with them through their story. And a lot of that can be more presentation skills, right?
Right. That's great. Okay. And you have a little gift for our ladies who are watching to help with their storytelling, right?
Perfect. Well, let me tell you about it. It's a book that I wrote. It's an international bestseller on Amazon. It's called Stop Staring at a Blank Page: How to Write a Speech That Will Change You, Change the World, and Attract Clients Like Honey. So anyone who's ever got that idea in their head that, you know what, I do want to get out and tell people what I do, but you're staring at this page going, how the hell do I do this? This is a complete book that's available complimentary for you. To thank you for inviting me, and to thank your listeners as well. And they can go and download that.
And that's at beabetterstory.com/ebook. And we will tag that in the email that goes out as well. And do you have any final words for women who are struggling with just the day-to-day overwhelm of their business, or feel like they're wearing all the hats, how to get out of that mode?
Well, it's a lot like what you do, Tiffany, is keep listening to these kind of things, connect up with a group of women who are wanting to connect, who are talking to each other. The times of us being isolated and alone and not connecting with powerful, strong, high-value women is over. I just continue to connect with people like you and what you're up to. Don't sit alone and feel you're alone, because you're not.
I think that's really good advice. Yes, ladies, you're not alone. I know it can feel that way, especially as an entrepreneur, right? But there's always people out there, especially with the internet. It's great to meet friends all over the world. So hop in the community. We've got a Facebook page, Peace, Love, and Wine Sisters. So we'd love to see you there. Thank you, Diane, for speaking today and sharing what you do. And I look forward to learning more about your work as well.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. You take care.
You too. Bye.
Hello, Mer people. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I just wanted to pop in and ask you to do me a huge favor. If you're enjoying the show, please go to iTunes or wherever you leave your reviews and post a review and rating there for me. That way more people can find our little mer habitat here on the internet and enjoy our sisterhood, self-care, creativity, and biz boss badassery. If you want to learn more about our exciting upcoming events, gifts, wine, and all the fun things that are Peace, Love, and Wine, send me an email, info@peaceloveandwine.com, or go to peaceloveandwine.com and enter your name to win something fun and get a free self-care download.